Dan Illman, Matt Burney are taking a look at race number 12 at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. It is the Grade 3 Gulfstream Park Sprint. If you happen to be playing the race, please consider DRF bets. If you sign up for a new account, you'll access a $200 free bet. No deposit required. All you have to do is go to drf.com/join. Use the promo code FREEBET09. Let's take a look at this full field of sprinters. They're going to go 6.5 in the Grade 3 Gulfstream Park Sprint. The 6 favorable outcome, 3-1 on the morning line. The likely favorite, the horse to beat, coming off a little bit of a layoff for Chad Brown, but this horse came off an even longer layoff last year to win the Swale.
Yeah, I thought he was really impressive winning the Swale, and I thought he ran just fine running in third in the Malibu most recently. Because last time we saw him, it was well before New Year's Day. Something to keep in mind about Santa Anita the day they ran the Malibu, I thought inside was advantageous. He was 2 or 3 pads off throughout. He came on with a run, finished with interest. I think he's strictly the horse to beat in here. The question is, at what price do you take him? Lots
to like on favorable outcome. You mentioned his performance in the Malibu. He's trained by Chad Brown, ridden by Javier Castellano. The horses he faced in the Malibu, I know they were only 3-year-olds, arguably better than the horses he'll face here. Edwards going left, the runner-up, came back to win the Cal Cup Sprint with a 102 Beyer speed figure. There is a good amount of speed in this race, not surprisingly. Let's take a look at the time form. U.S. Pace Projector could be another reason to like the morning line favorite trained by Chad Brown. That red bar indicates they're going to be cooking early. Rockefellers from the far outside is probably going to have to be sent on a send by Jose Lezcano.
Yeah, you're going to have to send him. I don't know if it's going to make a difference because I don't think he's quite this good. But Navarro, throw him out at your own sort of volition down there. I think he's a nice horse. I just don't think he's quite this good.
Rockefellers, I thought, was aided by a sloppy speed favoring track 2 starts back when he put up a career best 91 Beyer. Came down to earth a little bit as the favorite last time out, but he is trained by Jorge Navarro. We've got a Formulator of Fact for Navarro. Past 3 years, older dirt sprinters in graded stakes. He, of course, has trained the likes of XY Jet, Private Zone, 31%, 2.5 ROI. I think a fast pace and an extra half a furlong works against Rockefellers. Unbridled Outlaw, the horse that defeated Rockefellers last time out. Boy, we've been against him for most of his career. He's the kind of horse that likes to pick up checks. He's a nice, honest, consistent sort. He beat Rockefellers last time out. That race, though, has not come back very strong.
Yeah, no disrespect whatsoever to Dale Romans or anybody else that's involved with this horse, but when Unbridled Outlaw is beating you, that's not a good thing.
Here's a Formulator fact, though, for Unbridled Outlaw fans. They'll be heartened to know that Romans is winning at a 50% clip over the past 5 years, with older last-out winners on dirt making their 3rd start after the layoff. The ROI good as well, $5.10. This horse has found some tactical speed, but I wonder if he'll just be out-sprinted in the early portion of the race. Let's talk about Extravagant Kid, the number 1. This horse has won 3 out of his last 4 starts, claimed for $75,000 by a very shrewd trainer in Brendan Walsh. I just didn't think much of the field. He beat Legacy, came back and kind of underwhelmed last week in the House Hope.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head if I can think of another race that was as fast as it was when it was run and has come back to be so bad. You had Legacy come back with a 75, you have Recruiting Ready come back with a 65, and you have the 4th place finisher come back with a 53. If this horse continues that trend, he can't win.
Let's talk about Mr. Jordan. This is a horse that's banked $664,000. Amazingly enough, 0 for 10 at Gulfstream. He is the king of Gulfstream West. 1 mile and 1/8, just too far for him last time out in the Sunshine Millions Classic. He's getting a turn back. Now, maybe 6.5 furlongs is a little bit sharp, but it's interesting to note he did win at this distance as a 2-year-old, and his most recent sprint at 7, he won very easily at Parks. Perhaps Mr. Jordan's just found the right spot.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. He has a little bit of tactical speed, doesn't have to go right to the front, can sit off that pace if it does heat up. Boy, you brought up the elephant in the room. He's 0 for 10 at Gulfstream, 5 times second. I don't know if that's a product of who he's faced and the distances he's run, but if you could get a middling number on this horse, he's interesting.
8 Town, the number 2, 4-1 on the morning line. This horse reeled off 3 consecutive wins before being stretched out to a 1-turn mile in the Fred Hooper, and he just didn't break very well that day. Those are some solid horses. I think turning back's going to help him. He needs a little bit of a Beyer boost. He's a little bit slow on figs.
Yeah, slow on Figs. That's the only real knock here. I agree. Getting back to a shorter distance is going to help his cause. You get Jose Ortiz, but on paper right now he's too slow.
No Holding Back Bear, the number 7, did some good things in 2016, including beating Mind Your Biscuits in the Grade 3 Gallant Bob Stakes. Not much has gone right for No Holding Back Bear after that. He basically missed the break in the 2016 Breeders' Cup Sprint, and he missed most of last year. Now he's coming back off of a long layoff. On his best day, he could easily win this race. What are we getting off the bench?
I have to be honest with you. To me, he's the wild card in the race because his best race he can easily win. But if you see something like the True North, which was a disaster, and even the Diablo, I guess it was okay. He ran second behind Stall Walking Dude, and we know he's an old hard hitter. I don't know. I mean, there's a part of me that says if you get that Gallant Bob, he's going to win. There's no question about it. But I don't know if we're going to get that.
First Growth won the Claiming Crown Express, was stepped up to face the likes of XY Jet and the Mr. Prospector and the Pelican. Ran well in the Mr. Prospector, but maybe he was catching a short XY Jet, because in the rematch, XY Jet dusted him in the Pelican. I was a little disappointed the speed wasn't there last time.
Yeah, I almost wonder if they, that was that Mr. Prospector, was that when you squeezed the lemon a little bit too dry and you've had 2 duds since then? Maybe we're at a point where this horse needs a little bit of a breather.
If you're looking for a big-priced Formulator of Fact horse, no further than the 8 Sweet On the Ladies, third behind XY Jet last time out, who came out of that race to win the Pelican at Tampa with a 99 buyer. Limited positive Formulator of Fact for Henry Colazzo, only 75% winners, $13.50 ROI over the past 6 months with older sprinters off of a short layoff. This horse has a puncher's chance if the pace falls apart. I prefer him underneath. Maybe he spices up your triples and supers.
Yeah, I was going to say at a big number, I'd use him underneath. I have a hard time envisioning him winning, but look, that Formulator Fact, that's a positive.
I think we'd both agree that the favorite in here for Chad Brown is the horse to beat. I think we'd probably both use him in any kind of multiple race wager. On a win end off of a little bit of a layoff, maybe we look somewhere else. As we take a look at our picks, let's talk about the 4 Classic Rock, a horse that's 4 for 5 at Gulfstream Park, has some tactical speed where he might be able to sit off some questionable speeds, and he came back firing off a layoff last time.
I thought he was really good for Kathy Ritvo. Ritvo doesn't have a ton of starters down there in South Florida, but when she does get them out there, they run. She's 3 of 8 so far at the meeting. I thought that run on December 20th was good. He went out there, cleared to the front. My favorite part was when he was confronted at the top of the lane, he kicked away again. You keep Luis Saez aboard, who is arguably the best rider down there right now. He's red hot. And you know what? I just think maybe there's a scenario where if for some reason Favorable Outcome doesn't fire his best, maybe I want a horse that's at least in good form. I know this horse is. I went 4, 6, 7 in here.
Horse he beat Jaguar Paz, came back to be stakes placed on the turf, and he popped a buyer speed figure in the mid-90s. That was a good field. I liked Richard the Great in the Sunshine Millions. Probably just a bad pick at 1 1/8 where he was aggressively ridden with blinkers on. I think the pace is too fast. And like Mr. Jordan, I think 1 1/8 is a little bit too far for Richard the Great. He came real close to Mr. Jordan 2 back in the Harlan's Holiday when chasing a legitimate older Grade 3 type, Grade 2 type in Fear the Cowboy. I think this horse is going to be okay getting back to a 6, 6.5. He has a versatile running style. I don't think he'll be too far off the pace, but I don't think he'll be cooked by the pace. He's 15 to 1. Listen, maybe his big buyer speed figures are a bit inflated. That 100 in the Trinaburg, he was with the track that day. The Harlan's Holiday we've talked about at length, maybe a bit of an inflated speed figure. But I got to give him one more chance, at least at this distance, and the price will be right.
I was going to say he's going to be a giant price, so I would never talk anyone off that. But the key is, if you think that he can get back to one of those races from late summer of last year, there's no reason to think that he can't at the very least get involved at what should be, my goodness, every bit of 12, 15 to 1, I would imagine.
Matt, you're going with the 4 Classic Rock. I'm going 5, 6, 1, and 4 in multiple race wagers. The 5 and the 6 are my A's. I use Extravagant Kid only underneath in single race wagers. I would use your horse Classic Rock as a B. I would also use Mr. Jordan as a B as well. Race 12 at Gulfstream is the Grade 3 Gulfstream Park Sprint. If you want to bet it online, please do so with DRF Bets. $200 free bet, no deposit required. DRF.com/join, promo code FREEBET09. Approximate post time 5:02 Eastern. Best of luck.